One of the biggest questions I hear from men over 50 is this. Doctor, how do I keep my energy, my drive, and my masculinity strong as I age? And it's a fair question, because once you pass that milestone birthday, your body doesn't work the same way it used to. Testosterone, which is often called the male hormone, naturally starts to decline. But here's the surprising part. Some of the foods you're eating every day might be lowering it even further, while others can give it a real boost. And today, I'm going to tell you about 4 powerful nuts that can help restore testosterone levels, and 2 common ones that might secretly be sabotaging you. Now, before we dive in, let me set the stage. Imagine 2 men, both 65 years old. One of them wakes up each morning full of energy, goes for a brisk walk, keeps his mind sharp, and still has that spark in his relationships. The other wakes up tired, struggles with belly fat, finds it hard to focus, and just feels like he's slowing down. What's the difference? Well, in many cases, it comes down to lifestyle choices, especially nutrition. And believe it or not, the simple choice of which nuts you snack on can play a big role. So, let's get into it. The first nut that deserves your attention is the walnut. Walnuts are like little brain-shaped treasures. They're packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which don't just help your heart, but also help reduce inflammation throughout the body. Why is that important for testosterone? Because chronic inflammation is like pouring water on a fire. It cools down your hormone production. Walnuts give your body the building blocks it needs to keep testosterone burning strong. And here's a bonus. Those same omega-3s also help with memory and joint health, 2 areas most men over 60 are concerned about. The second nut you want on your side is the almond. Now, almonds are especially interesting because they're rich in vitamin E, magnesium, and healthy fats. Magnesium is the silent hero when it comes to testosterone. Research shows that men with higher magnesium levels also tend to have higher testosterone. It helps your body free up testosterone that's otherwise bound and unavailable. And vitamin E is a powerful antioxidant, which keeps your cells young and your hormones active. If you're grabbing a handful of almonds every day, you're essentially handing your body the tools it needs to fight aging from the inside out. Next, let's talk about Brazil nuts. These might not be your everyday snack, but they're worth seeking out. Why? Because Brazil nuts are the richest natural source of selenium, a trace mineral that plays a crucial role in testosterone production. Selenium acts like a spark plug for your hormone engine. Just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day can provide all the selenium you need. But be careful, not too many. Too much selenium can be harmful, so think of it as a powerful medicine. A little bit goes a long way. And finally, number 4. Pistachios. These little green gems are more than just fun to crack open. They're loaded with protein, fiber, and antioxidants, but most importantly, they help improve blood flow. Better circulation means better oxygen delivery to your organs, including those involved in hormone production. Studies have even shown that men who eat pistachios regularly have improvements in erectile function. So not only are you supporting testosterone, but you're also supporting performance and confidence where it matters most. Now, we've talked about the good guys, but let's not ignore the villains. There are 2 nuts that might actually drag your testosterone down, and if you're eating them regularly, you'll want to think twice. The first is the peanut. I know, it's shocking because peanuts are everywhere. Peanut butter, snacks, trail mixes. But here's the truth. Peanuts are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which can cause inflammation if you don't balance them with enough omega-3s. Remember, inflammation is the enemy of testosterone. Plus, many peanuts are processed with added oils and salts that don't do your body any favors. If you've been depending on peanut butter sandwiches as your go-to snack, it might be time to reconsider. The second nut that raises red flags is the cashew. Cashews taste great, and they do contain some beneficial nutrients, but they're also relatively high in phytic acid. This compound can interfere with your body's ability to absorb zinc, And zinc is one of the key minerals needed to produce testosterone. If your body can't absorb zinc properly, your testosterone levels can take a hit. That doesn't mean you can never enjoy cashews again, but moderation is key, and they shouldn't be your main source of nuts. So here's the bottom line, gentlemen. If you want to support your testosterone naturally as you age, lean into walnuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, and pistachios. At the same time, be cautious with peanuts and cashews. And remember, it's not just about testosterone. It's about how you feel day to day. Do you want more energy? Do you want to maintain a sharp mind? Do you want to stay active, vital, and strong well into your 70s and 80s? The choices you make today, even something as simple as swapping out your snack bowl, can set you on the path to a healthier future. Now, here's a little challenge for you. The next time you're reaching for a snack, stop and ask yourself, is this helping or hurting my testosterone? If you keep that question in mind, you'll start making choices that stack up in your favor. And over time, you'll notice the difference, not just in lab results, but in your energy, your strength, and your zest for life. When you cross into your 70s, life feels different. Your body doesn't respond quite the same way it did in your 50s or even your 60s. Many men tell me, "Doctor, I feel like my engine is running, but it doesn't have the horsepower it used to." And you know what? They're right. By the time you're 70, testosterone levels have declined significantly. But here's the good news. It's not the end of the road. You still have plenty of tools to keep your body vibrant, your mind sharp, and yes, your masculinity strong. And one of the most powerful tools is still sitting right in your kitchen pantry, the nuts you choose to eat. Now, before we dive into those nuts again, I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself 2 years from now. You're 72. You wake up in the morning. Do you want to be the man who stretches his arms, feels a lightness in his step, and heads out for a brisk walk with energy to spare? Or do you want to be the man who sits on the edge of the bed, rubbing his knees, sighing, and wondering where all his strength went? The difference between those two men is not luck. It's daily habits, and nutrition is at the heart of it. Let's start with walnuts again, because at this age, their benefits multiply. Walnuts aren't just about testosterone anymore. They're about brain health. Men in their 70s are more concerned about memory loss, focus, and clarity. The omega-3s in walnuts help protect brain cells from decline, keeping your mind sharper, which in turn supports mood and confidence. And when your mood is steady, your testosterone production doesn't face the same stress-related suppression that so many men struggle with. Stress is a testosterone killer, and walnuts help combat that. Next, almonds. You might think of almonds as just a snack, but in your 70s, they become an essential. Magnesium from almonds helps keep your mu-to-skeles functioning. One of the biggest risks for men in their 70s is muscle loss, what doctors call sarcopenia. When muscle mass declines, so does testosterone, and the cycle feeds on itself. By eating a handful of almonds daily, you give your body magnesium to maintain muscle, regulate blood sugar, and support steady testosterone. Think of it as fueling your body's internal battery. And let's not forget Brazil nuts. At this age, your body doesn't handle minerals the way it used to. Deficiencies are more common, and selenium from Brazil nuts becomes even more valuable. Selenium doesn't just support testosterone, it supports your thyroid. And a healthy thyroid keeps your metabolism moving, your weight under control, and your energy consistent. Remember, 1 or 2 Brazil nuts per day is plenty. That tiny habit is like turning a key in the ignition of your hormonal engine. Now pistachios, these little green powerhouses, become your ally in circulation. By 70, many men deal with reduced blood flow. They may not talk about it openly, but it affects confidence, energy, and intimacy. Pistachios help improve endothelial function, which is the ability of your blood vessels to relax and carry blood efficiently. Better circulation means more oxygen, more nutrient delivery, and stronger support for testosterone. And yes, gentlemen, it means better performance in the bedroom, which is something many men in their 70s quietly worry about, but rarely ask their doctor. Pistachios are nature's discreet but powerful helper. Now let's talk about the villains again, because avoiding the wrong choices is just as important as choosing the right ones. Peanuts, cheap, common, and everywhere, are not your friend in your 70s. The omega-6 overload combined with inflammation is harder for your body to recover from at this age. Your joints may already ache, your recovery is slower, and your cardiovascular system is more vulnerable. Why make it worse? If you've been reaching for peanut butter or salted peanuts, it's time to break that habit. Your testosterone and your heart will thank you. And what about cashews? In moderation, they won't hurt you, but in large amounts, that phytic acid we mentioned before is even more problematic now. At 70, your body's ability to absorb minerals like zinc is reduced. Why put another roadblock in the way? Cashews should be an occasional treat, not a daily snack. Focus instead on zinc-rich foods that are easier to absorb, like pumpkin seeds or lean meats. Here's the bigger picture. At 70, testosterone isn't just about muscle and drive. It's about independence. Do you want to walk unassisted? Do you want to climb stairs without pausing? Do you want to keep your mind clear enough to enjoy your grandchildren and your hobbies? Testosterone plays a role in all of that, and your food choices feed into it every single day. So let me give you a challenge. For the next 30 days, replace whatever nuts you've been eating with the 4 heroes: walnuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, and pistachios. Mix them together in a jar. Keep them in the kitchen or next to your chair. Anytime you want a snack, reach for that jar. After 30 days, pay attention. Notice if you feel more energetic, if your joints ache a little less, if your mood is steadier. You may not feel like a brand new man overnight, but you will notice subtle improvements that stack up over time. And here's the truth. At 70, you're not trying to turn back the clock. You're trying to keep the hands of the clock from moving too fast. The right choices help you stay strong, independent, and engaged with life. The wrong choices chip away at your vitality. Which path you take is entirely up to you. So what's it going to be? Will you stay stuck with peanuts and cashews that drag you down? Or will you fuel your 70s with the powerhouse nuts that lift you up? The decision may be small, but the impact on your future is massive. When you reach your 80s, people often tell you to slow down, take it easy, and accept that your best years are behind you. But let me tell you something I've seen in my years as a physician. Age is just a number, and I've met men in their 80s who are sharper, stronger, and more alive than men 20 years younger. The difference is not luck, it's the daily choices they make. And yes, even at 80, the foods you eat can influence how much energy you have, how strong your body feels, and how connected you are to life. That's why today, I want to remind you once again about the 4 nuts that can support your testosterone and overall health, and the 2 you need to avoid if you want to stay in control of your future. Now, let me start with this picture. Imagine yourself at 85. You're surrounded by your family. Maybe you're holding your great-grandchild in your arms. Do you want to be the man who can stand tall, smile, and carry that baby with confidence? Or do you want to be the man who sits quietly in the corner, too tired, too weak, and too dependent on others? The choice is not made in that moment. It's made years earlier, through the habits you build every single day. Let's revisit walnuts. At 80, heart and brain health are everything. Walnuts give you both. The omega-3 fatty acids not only fight inflammation, but also protect against cognitive decline. And here's something most men don't realize. Testosterone is not just about muscles and drive. It also influences mood, energy, and even memory. By supporting your brain with walnuts, you're keeping your hormones and your spirit more balanced. You'll find it easier to engage in conversations, to laugh, to stay mentally sharp, and that is priceless in your 80s. Next, almonds. By now, you've probably heard enough about magnesium, but in your 80s, it becomes more vital than ever. Magnesium supports your bones, your muscles, and your nerves. One of the greatest risks for men in their 80s is falling. And when you fall, recovery is harder. Testosterone plays a role in maintaining bone density, and magnesium helps support that process. So every almond you eat is like a small step toward keeping your independence. Think about it this way. A handful of almonds today might mean one less trip to the hospital tomorrow. Brazil nuts continue to play their powerful role, but with a twist. Selenium not only supports testosterone and thyroid health, but it's also a strong antioxidant. At 80, your body's natural defenses are weaker. Free radicals can damage your cells faster, leading to fatigue and illness. Just one Brazil nut a day can provide that shield your body needs. And here's the beauty. You don't need a complicated supplement routine. You just need 1 or 2 Brazil nuts, simple and natural. And pistachios, these are your circulation champions. At 80, good blood flow is essential for everything from heart health to energy to intimacy. Yes, intimacy still matters. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Feeling close, feeling confident, and feeling alive are as important at 80 as they were at 50. Pistachios help open those blood vessels, improve oxygen delivery, and keep your heart pumping strong. A man who eats pistachios regularly is giving himself the gift of vitality, not just survival. Now, I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't remind you about the 2 nuts you need to limit. Peanuts are still the same problem. The older you get, the less room you have for error. Inflammation at this age is more dangerous. It slows healing, weakens your heart, and robs you of energy. Peanuts, with their high omega-6 content, push you in the wrong direction. If you've spent decades snacking on peanuts, it's never too late to stop. Your body will thank you immediately. And cashews, while delicious, remain problematic because of their phytic acid. Your body in your 80s doesn't absorb minerals as efficiently as it once did. Blocking zinc absorption is the last thing you want. Zinc supports immune function, hormone balance, and healing. Every little bit matters now, so don't let cashews stand in your way. But here's the larger point. When you're in your 80s, it's not just about testosterone anymore. It's about quality of life. Testosterone is still part of the equation, yes, but what you're really fighting for is energy, independence, and dignity. You want to be able to get up from your chair without assistance. You want to enjoy a walk in the park. You want to remember the stories your grandchildren tell you and share your wisdom with them. And all of that connects back to the choices you make every day. So let me give you a vision. Picture yourself at 88. You wake up in the morning, stretch your arms, and breathe deeply. You're grateful for the day ahead. You reach for your jar of walnuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, and pistachios, and you smile knowing that this small, simple habit is helping you stay strong, clear-minded, and full of life. That's not a dream. That's reality if you choose it. Gentlemen, you've made it this far, and that's something to be proud of. But don't let anyone convince you that the last chapters of your life have to be weak or dependent. With the right choices, starting with something as simple as the nuts you eat, you can keep writing your story with strength, energy, and vitality. So, I'll leave you with one final question. At 80 and beyond, do you want to simply exist, or do you want to truly live? The answer starts with the choices you make today.